Hey, it's Greg here, and today I'm going to try to teach you something. If you learned something or enjoy the video, I would really appreciate it if you consider subscribing. I'm trying to make 1 or 2 videos a week here, and yeah, I hope you enjoy them, so let's get started. Okay, so today I'm going to teach you how to chop up a sample with the drum sampler that's longer than 12 seconds. So, to do this, I'm going to sample a song from The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask called Oath to Order. It's a pretty sweet track. I think it'll chop up well, and we're going to show you how to do that. So there's a few things to note. One thing that I want you to get comfortable with is the fact that the tape speed can be adjusted with the white dial here. And this technique is actually a pretty standard technique for old school sampling. Any sampler with time and memory limitations, all you have to do to work around it is change the pitch and speed of your sample. I might go over some stuff that is very obvious, but I'm just going to break it down. So when you play audio, the faster it's played, the higher the pitch, the slower, the lower the pitch. And because we've got 12 seconds and we might want to sample something even 14 seconds long, we're going to have to change the speed. And on the OP-1, when you change the speed, you always change the pitch. There's no way to change the pitch independently of speed. That's a limitation of the OP-1. So you are never going to necessarily end up with an exact perfect audio quality sample of what you sampled, the same pitch, the same tempo, if it's longer than 12 seconds without doing it in your computer. But I'm going to show you the best way and a fun way that I found to chop up samples on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record in my sample. So you want to make sure by pressing shift in the microphone that you're on input on your tape track. Let's go back to our tape track. Because I have the tape at 1:1, that means we can only double the speed. So my sample still has to be shorter than 24 seconds. If you want to take a longer sample, you can go to 25%. So your sample could be 96 seconds long, which is pretty long, but you're going to have a super degraded sample. And the reason why is because the slower your tape speed is, the lower quality the recording. So that's not necessarily the best way. If you have a really long sample, you might want to try and play it in at a faster speed. You can do this even on YouTube with playback speed, or you could edit the audio in your audio editor of choice on your computer, on your phone. And you can even mess with the pitch, speed, whatever, and record it into the tape that way. But to keep this simple, I'm going to make sure my sample is less than 24 seconds long. So I'm only going to have to double the speed, and then it's going to fit into the drum sampler. I've already got my mic set up. To check your mic, you're going to press shift in the mic. Right now I have it on input. You want to make sure with the blue encoder that you're on input. And then you're going to go back to your tape. You're going to press shift, then record to arm this, and then the second you press the mic button, it's going to start your tape. So what you're going to do is you're going to press your mic button, and then you're going to press play for whatever your input source is. So I'm sampling off my phone, so I'm going to press this and then press play on my phone. And one way that you can make it easier to trim your sample up, if you press shift then the stop button, you change the resolution of the tape. So now you can skip back in tiny little sections. And it looks like I start right here. So I'm going to cut this part out. Then I'm going to go back to my sample, lift it, place it at the start just because I feel like it, and then we're going to cut the end off. It looks like about right there I don't need. So now we can see how long our sample is. We're at 1:1. So the sample is about 21 seconds long. So to make things easy, I'm going to double the tape speed. So if you press shift, you can see it as a percent. So I'm just going to double the tape speed. You get the picture. We're going to go to our drum. We're going to make sure that whatever we have loaded up is a sample, which I already had loaded up. And then we're going to go to the microphone. And now, last time when we sampled to the tape, we made sure it was on the input, which we don't need anymore, so I'm going to unplug it. So last time we made sure we were on the input, which is now a microphone. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it over to the ear, which is resampling out of the OP-1. So now when I press play here, it'll show up in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold our key and we're going to press play because right now we're at double speed. Okay, so now our sample is in the drum sampler across the keys. And what we're going to have to do is we doubled the speed. So if we want it to be at a more normal speed and at a more normal pitch, all we have to do is use the blue encoder to pitch it down. And again, you might not get exact results, but what I like to do is I just pitch it down until I see what sounds good, and then I go from there. So I'm going to do that now. So I kind of seem to like -4. So I'm going to do that to all of them. And now that I've got them pitched down, we want to chop them up and make sure that it plays nicely across the keyboard. Now, if you already know how to chop up samples to your liking, you probably can stop watching now because now you've got your sample that's longer than 12 seconds in the drum sampler, which is pretty simple. So now I'm going to show you how to chop it up. And to do that, what we're going to do is you use the green and the white encoders. The green one is the start point, and the white one's the end point. And we're going to make them all line up nicely. It's easier to see your sample and easier to chop it up if you turn your volume up. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so now I've got them all turned up in volume by pressing Shift and rotating the orange knob, which changes your volume. And now it's a little easier to see the waveform. So up here at the top is your whole waveform. So you can see as I extend it, it goes across the sample. And then here you use the green and the white to change your start and end points. So you can do that to adjust every sample manually and chop it up. The OP-1, I'm not going to say is the best thing for chopping up samples, but it definitely works, and I like to do everything on here because it's fun. So you can see here, it can help you kind of line your sample up by looking at the top here. So now I can see where that ends, so I know where I want this one to start. Okay, so now I've got my sample chopped up. If you want, you can make it so your samples play out all the way. So this orange knob here changes your playback. So that means that it'll stop playing when you let go. You can make it so it will go to the end. Or you can make it loop. Usually what I like to do is I like to just play them out on my own and have it so it stops playing. And another way that I like to do this is so that I don't have any gaps between my playback. Sometimes I just extend the sample out past where I want it to be. That way I can play it out. I can play it out longer if I want, and then I can also play it all chopped up. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I have it chopped against 12 pads. And now what I can do is I can make a song out of it. So if all you wanted to do is how to chop your samples, now you should know how to do that. But I'm going to show you how to lock it to a tempo now. What I'll do is I'll go back to the tape. Let's put it back to normal speed. You can put the metronome on. you can press play. So you can hear the metronome's a little fast. So what I'll do is I'll just mess with the metronome until it matches the beats of my sample. So you can see at 105, it's pretty much spot on. Why don't we program in a simple drum loop? So I hope that helped. Now I'm just going to mess around with my samples that I made, and yeah, we're just going to have a fun time. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. I would appreciate any feedback on the video, as this was my first tutorial. I also want to know what topics you guys would like me to cover. Anyway, hopefully I'll see you in the next one, and check out my other videos where you can see me making actual music, not just showing you how to do something. See you later.